Welcome back, everybody. DevLog number 2 just dropped, and boy is it amazing. This is the meat and potatoes of the 0.4 update, and let me tell you, the stuff that they've added is absolutely fantastic. I am super excited to share this with you, so let's dive right into it. First things up, we have the environment. So the whole island of Lemeng has gone through some massive changes. The world should now feel a lot more fuller, dynamic, interactive, and far more diverse than ever before. Locations are packed with details and varied assets that hint at the island's dark lore. Terrain and vegetation were adjusted to boost players' agency, giving you more control, clear sightlines to carefully plan your approach. They've added 25 new locations, all varied in different sizes. They've added some small biomes around the map, rebuilt and polished existing locations, redesigned the locations to reflect particular AI NPC factions that occupy the area. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. They've reduced visitation around the combat outposts and points of interest to improve visibility, redesigned FOBs, polished environment near rivers, added paths in the jungle for easier navigation, and added variety to the state and searchability of buildings. Open, closed, abandoned, boarded up, whole nine. They've introduced a wider range of interactions with the environment, and check this out. Nighttime just got a whole lot more interesting because they added an actual moon phase. So the moon cycles will now be in-game and will affect the way your NVGs work at night. I don't know about you all, but I am super excited about that. That is pretty freaking awesome. Now let's move on to character development. Both the AI and our PMCs have been remodeled. Regarding the characters, they have focused on introducing more variety. They've redesigned the AI enemies into clearly defined factions, each with a distinctive boss to improve readability and encourage players to use different tactics and loadouts when engaging these specific factions. These enemies have been divided into 7 distinct factions, each defined by unique faces, hairstyles, clothing, gear, weapons, and various loot, plus additional redesigns for FOB and COP guards, as well as starter town AI NPCs. Each new faction has a new enemy boss with distinctive voice lines and weapons. Now onto our actual PMC players themselves. They have been reworked and visually upgraded all of the PMC heads, so you'll have 16 different heads to choose from at the beginning of the wipe. They've added new apparel for players to obtain via Twitch drops and new stuff in-game to snag up. On top of that, a couple of the vendors have been reworked to give you a more immersed and personalized feel to the vendors themselves. Alright, now we're moving on to the fun stuff. Weapons and gear. The new weapons in 0.4 is meant to broaden the spectrum. So you're introducing both low tier and high tier guns spread out throughout the island of Lemeng. Now, you take that and you couple that with the new weapons parts, gears, and items. All these additions should bring much more of a variety to your loadout, being able to build different guns with different gear and different attachments. On top of that, they've made massive improvements to not only the weapons, but the ammunition, gear, and the ballistics, which is huge. Now, the weapon parts that have been added. There's 380 new weapon parts. 2 include new color variants of previously existing weapon attachments. Now there's 8 new weapons. The alien pistol, the L403A1, the M16A1, the M1A, the M14, the SAVZ58, the Remington Model 788.222, and the M201C. Boy, that's a mouthful to read, huh? There is 9 unique camo variants for the firearms, which is awesome. You're able to, completely customize the camo of your rifles. 12 unique engraved weapons for the bosses, so a little bit of bling on your rifle after taking down a boss. Kind of a war trophy there of sorts. 3 new kilometers, the Trigicon MRO, the RMR Type 2 red dot sight, the Luago Arms red dot. Those are always nice. I love pistol sights. I even like putting pistol sights on rifles for the faster reflex. So those are great additions. Now for the scopes for you long range fellows, there are 5 new scopes. The Leopold FX Scout 2.5 by 28 millimeter The Night Force AT-ACR 7x35x56mm. Goodness! The Razor 1-10x24 rifle scope. The SAI-6 and the Voodoo 3-9. Now, here is the big one. Everybody's been asking since day one for the flip mount magnifiers, and now we have them. They've added 3 magnifiers, 2 color variants of each except the 3X-P, so 5 altogether. The Aimpoint 3X-P, the EOTech G33, the EOTech G45. Now, another highly requested item is binoculars, and now we're getting 4 of them, one of which has a rangefinder functionality. That is fantastic. Moving on to the gear, there's 150 new gear pieces, including new color variants of previously existing gear. 33 unique boss variants of existing and new gear, 8 new helmets, 6 new pieces of headwear to include the backwards baseball cap finally, the schma, the baklava mask, 3 different kinds, and a face mask. There's 2 new glasses, the Condor in 2 variants, and the Crossfire. 3 new plate carriers, 4 new rigs, 2 new belts, 3 new backpacks, 3 new headsets, the 3M Peltor Comtac 2, the Impact Sport, and the Celex TASC-1. There are 3 new night vision devices, the DT2 in 2 color variants, 2 new ballistic vests, and morale patches that players can earn by ranking up, becoming a supporter, attending special events, or through Twitch drops. Now these patches are attached straight to your top and are on display for all to see. That is fantastic. Now, for the improvements that is related to weapon, ammo, gear, and ballistics. So they're introducing the manual bolting, which I can only assume means that you'll have to manually cycle the bolt action in your rifle. Revamped weapon stats to accumulate the impact of weapons handling, including aiming down the sight, sway, inertia, reload speed, and weapon weight. Improved ballistic calculations to better balance realism with gameplay and to make weapons and ammo more viable. So they've said from the beginning that every weapon and every ammo is going to be usable in this upcoming update. Ammunition type now affects weapon durability, with special rounds degrading weapons even faster, which I have always thought should have been a thing, and now it is. That's pretty awesome. It makes you mindful of keeping your weapons clean and keeping them repaired. The ammunition item detail now displays the lowest armor class that the projectile is not able to penetrate, which is huge. So if you know you're going up against an enemy with high level plates, you know to take some high level rounds. You don't want to be using basic ballpoint ammo to try and take down a level 3 or level 4 plate carrier. Just ain't gonna happen. Bullet damage is now more clearly visible thanks to new hit reactions and limping. So we covered this on the last video. They now have a chain reaction when being hit, so you can see where you're hitting them and how you're hitting them and the damage that is actually doing to them. Grenades have been rebalanced to better match real life, and they've also adjusted the way that they throw the grenades, so it's a little easier for you to calculate how you're throwing the grenades. From this clip here, you'll see that the left hand reaches forward, and you kind of use your finger as a pointer, and that's where the grenade's gonna go. Absolutely fantastic. Should be using grenades a lot easier and a lot more manageable to get them in through windows and doors. So using flashbangs is now an actual thing instead of bouncing off the door and blinding the shit out of yourself. They added an attachment interface section to the inspect window, showing which socket the item belongs to on your rifle, which is awesome. No more guesswork on, hey, will this fit here type deal. Now moving on to loot. One of the most requested things asked of the developers was to add more meaningful and more quantity of loot in the field for you to pick up and use. They've made a huge change to the loot system itself, meaning they expanded the pool. They've created a clear high and low value area to better align spawns with specific locations. In addition, they've added a large set of intel items to enrich environmental storytelling across Lemang, which is awesome. So more stuff for you to read and research and learn more about what happened here in Lemang. They doubled the number of distinct loot, adding over 123 items to include new cases, food, meds, medical supplies, and valuables. They've added 351 intel items. That includes magazines, letters, posters, 68 of which are lootable. They increased the spawns and diversity of high-value loot to make exploring more exciting. They've also introduced junk items, new container types, and rebalance stems that have a weaker negative side effect. Certain food and drinks now provide buffs when consumed. So for example, coffee boosts stamina, recovery speed, which is fantastic. We've all need that because we're tired of running out of stamina in the field. Let us know in the comments below which of the changes revealed so far you're most excited about. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you guys are excited for, because boy, there's a lot to be excited about. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.